My name is Maddie from Distance Between, and welcome to Enigma Media. Oh yeah.
Well, we're not gonna fuck up the intro this time.
What up, fellow headbangers? How you doing? I'm Robb O'Day.
I'm Norm Mathers.
And welcome to Enigma Media. Today's episode, we are spotlighting Zack Brannon from Vancouver, British Columbia.
A solo musician doing everything himself.
Dude's talented as fuck. Like, need to check him out if you haven't. If you're into Pliny, Animals as Leaders, and or Polyphia, you go check that guy out right now.
He's talented as all holy fuck.
We're going to check out one of his videos first, and then we're going to have an interview with the guy, and you guys are going to get to know who he is and his music.
We hope you dig it.
We're going to check out the song Redemption right now. Like so much soul and groove to it. I love it.
Here's the slap bass he was talking about.
So good.
Take me away to dreamland.
Right? Like, oh, and I just play all the bass myself. Too damn good, sir. I really just want to play drums when I hear this. I just totally got a broner. So fucking good. small moment that doesn't flow. It's just so beautiful. And I really want that tapestry. Like the moons. I want that. Behind us. Wow. I like the theme behind his songs, his videos too. Honestly, how they all kind of sync up together. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a wicked song. Absolutely amazing. What up, headbangers? How you doing? I'm Rob O'Day.
I'm Norm Mathers.
Welcome to Enigma Media. Today's episode, we got Zack Brannon from Vancouver, British Columbia. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Thank you for having me part of the podcast. I've never done this before, so this should be fun.
Thank you. Why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us how you got started in music?
Okay, so I'm Zack Brannon, and I'm a guitarist, session guitarist based out of Vancouver. And basically, I've always sort of been into music, but I kind of got started with getting more involved in it and playing it when I was about 12. And that's when I started playing guitar, and then later on picked up a few different instruments like bass and piano slowly and stuff like that. But a big part of my taste in music, despite it, further diversifying itself over time, is my home base has always kind of been the harder side of metal and rock and stuff like that, and more recently instrumental metal, which is the stuff that I've been writing for the last, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years now, something like that. I've only released 2 EPs and starting to work on, I'm finished an album that's going to be coming out fairly soon.
Yeah, I'm stoked for this.
Yeah.
It's going to be a solid album. Because you just released your single, Heart Grenade. How was that experience in creating this new project?
So writing that song was very much, I kind of wanted to take the modern side of progressive metal, which is, I guess, the genre that I identify my music with: progressive rock, progressive metal, instrumental, whatever. So I wanted to take the more modern side of that, which would be like, the periphery kind of Meshuggah, Animals as Leaders kind of side. And I wanted to kind of fuse it with the older kind of side of progressive metal, like the Dream Theater, I guess, Opeth kind of thing, where there's the songs have a more complex arrangement in terms of songwriting, where there's lots of different sections that nicely tie into each other, and but it's got those sort of angsty riffs that you hear in periphery, where there's lots of dissonances and there's lots of fast stuff, and because I've always really loved that kind of angsty sounding stuff, like the Protest the Hero kind of thing.
Fuck yeah.
But keeping it in the vein of the old style of progressive music, where the songs have a lot of different sections, and the songwriting is complex but still tasteful, where everything flows into each other like a classical piece, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How has COVID affected you as an artist?
Well, as an artist, it hasn't really affected me very much at all, because most of what I do in terms of my own songwriting resides right where I'm sitting. It's where I write everything. It's where I record everything on the laptop that I'm talking on right now. And but that's how it's affected me, I guess, a little bit as an artist, but mostly as a session player and a gigging musician, because I gig a fair bit and I do session work, but even then the session work is still something I can just do right
From
here.
home.
getting tracks sent to me, dropping them into my DAW, and then recording my parts, sending it back, and then getting paid through like e-transfer, something like that.
Yeah.
When you feature an artist, like you have on many of your songs and your new single Heart Grenade, what instruments do you get them to come in and play?
So it's actually funny because I program all the drums on my stuff.
Oh wow.
Wicked, man.
And it's always really awesome when someone says, "Who's playing drums on that?" Because I do very meticulously go over everything and put in ghost notes on the snare and try and make it sound as real as possible.
Watch
Sweet.
now, you're gonna have like so many metal drummers just being like, "Yo, bro, you need me."
Hey, I will take
I'll be on that list in a
Well,
heartbeat.
I will take a metal drummer if someone's willing to play with me. I'd love that.
Yeah, I definitely. That's the one thing as soon as I listened to some of your music, I was like, man, I just want my drum kit. I just want to jam to this. It's so fun.
Well, yeah, and then I played all the bass on it on all my stuff. My very first EP, the drums were programmed. I recorded all the guitars. I actually had my friend Colin Sankey, who's a super insanely talented local bass player from Vancouver, and I had him play bass on it. And then but the last, all my most recent works is all me playing bass on it and recording all the guitars. And you know, this genre, occasionally you have featured artists, which is a fairly popular thing with the gent progressive metal thing. Typically guitar players, almost always guitar players are the features because it's such guitar driven music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only like I think once that I've had someone who isn't a guitarist feature on it, and you know, they're all people I'm friends with already. But you know, on one of my recent tracks, I had piano because I wanted to try. I wanted to have a more. I wanted the song to have a little more elegance and not just be so hard edged the whole way through. So I wrote something that's a little more melancholy and more ambient. And then I thought, nah, there's enough guitar. I'd like to get, you know, an instrument that'll sort of diversify the sound and round everything off a little bit nicer.
Yeah, carry it in a different direction almost.
That's what I was most curious about, is if you'd featured any bass players or if you were doing it all yourself, because some of your tracks, sorry, not some of your tracks, all of your tracks, being a bass player myself, I tune into it right away. Some of the lines are just so harmonically pleasing, and like I lost my train of thought. I apologize. They're so harmonically pleasing, and how they just follow the rhythm perfectly, and so progressive. Like I don't hear the bass line repeating itself all that often, and I'm just like, what is even going on? What chord progression are they going over top of? How are they working in the thirds and the fifths and making it sound so perfect?
Well, that's something I kind of I kind of try and approach all the songwriting, like the guitar in all my music is super composed. Like I write everything, and I really think about what, you know, the movement harmonically is, or the harmonic movement is, and how everything works. But when I approach programming the drums and like the rhythm section, I kind of like the idea of like me writing all this stuff really meticulously and then making it sound like I just had like some sick fusion bass player who just sits down and I just, okay, go. And then he just slaps and just improvises all this stuff. Like I like the sound of that, and I also like the sound of the drummer doing that. And whenever I'm programming drums, the person I'm always thinking in my head is like Marco Miniman. Or like a fusion drummer like Vinny Colaiuta or someone like that. Someone who's just like an absolute ripper.
Yeah.
But can still do the metal thing and make it sound heavy and super full. But that's kind of, I think that's kind of why things they'll be recycling motifs and stuff, but it'll be using different grooves, and the bass line will be roughly the same idea but totally different bass fills, and maybe one part slapped and then the part before that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have an incredible amount of clank in your bass tone. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm
like,
using the neural DSP parallax for
Oh,
that,
sweet.
so it gives you that nice ding wall. It makes your bass sound like a ding wall without being a ding wall.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the music because it just reminds me of Pliny and We Own the Sky, and I fall into it. I can listen to it for hours, and
Thank you.
it's super unique, and
Yep.
especially from being from BC, you would always think like those artists are across the world, or Sarah Longfield who's in the States, and it's just like I'm like, nah, man, Zach's up in there that level. Like it's it's insane. You just need to get out there.
Well,
'Cause
I mean, we have Nick Johnston and Aaron Marshall intervals. Those are the two sort of progressive artists we have in Canada, but I think they're over in
yeah, I think they're Eastern
Toronto.
Canada, aren't they?
Yeah, Eastern.
Yeah.
The East Coast
The
is
beat, like the West Coast never gets exposure, I find, and it's nice to see an artist who's so diverse and talented out of like what 4 hours away from us. So it's cool to see. Like I showed you to our guitar player who we're like, oh, Dale's fucking incredible, and Dale's like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, I wish I could play like that, and I'm like, oh, practice, Dale. Like it takes practice, dude. So
it is. It's a lot of wood shedding. It's a lot of frustration and putting the metronome on even though you just really don't want to.
yeah, Dale definitely and metronome aren't good friends.
Yeah.
I've said that since the beginning.
Well, that's the thing. Playing to a click is something that'll just, it's such an unforgiving thing. It just showcases what you're doing wrong rhythmically just instantly, and I love that. It's brutally honest, and it just tightens up your playing so much.
Yeah, it does for sure.
It shows in my playing a lot when I've been like practicing just by myself versus practicing to a metronome and like working out phrasing ideas and stuff like that. But
it can be very humbling too if the first time you're really playing to a click or with a click is in the studio with the guy behind the board going, all right, you ready? Click, record. And he's like, nope, you're falling off the click. Stop, record again. And you're just like, oh no, I'm falling apart right now.
Yeah. And then you get in your head and then you just can't do it.
That's me as a producer. No, you're off. We do.
Yeah.
I bet the boys are glad I'm not producing this next EP.
So when COVID's all said and done, are you looking to take any of your show on the road, so to speak? Are you gonna try to hire session musicians to come with you and play some shows or anything like that, or are you just gonna be strictly online and through YouTube and stuff?
No, I absolutely 100% want to take my stuff live.
Fuck yeah,
sweet.
That's a full go as soon as I get the chance. I actually fairly recently I had a couple of rehearsals with a buddy of mine who's a really awesome drummer. And we sat down at Soundhouse Studios and we went and rehearsed some stuff. And it went really well because I never heard an actual drummer play my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really good at sitting down and working stuff out. He's a really good reader, so he can chart things out, and he's really big into Rush and stuff like that. So he does all the Neil Peart shred.
Yeah,
right?
that's like me on a drum kit. I'm all about polyrhythms and weird off time signatures and shit. It's fun.
Yeah, Matt Garska all the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Matt's probably one of my biggest inspirations besides Neil Peart. So
yeah. Peart, Garska, and Marco Miniman are probably my three faves.
Yeah, they're absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Our drummer just did a lesson yesterday with Thomas Bridgen.
And
he's like, man, I feel like a baby all over again. I'm like, it's humbling seeing artists so talented, and then he just pushes you to want to do more.
Yeah, I had that exact same feeling when I went to the last NAM show and right at the beginning of 2020, Winter NAM.
Oh wow.
And I it was the first time that I got to see all of these people who I've always seen on my computer screen,
Right.
and seeing them in person and seeing them play all the stuff I see them play online right in front of me. And it's kind of surreal because it's just like, oh, like, wow, you're real and you're
You're,
playing that like
yeah.
it's happening right in front of me.
Yeah, you're not actually just a robot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not. Or that one guitarist right now, everyone's ripping on the Barry Alive, or I have no clue, but he's just like
oh,
they.
Charles Caswell.
Yeah, and they say he speeds up his videos and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's pretty hard to
You know,
fake playing like
the,
that.
the thing is I've seen him putting out videos that are raw footage,
Yeah,
and like the dude is a really clean, crispy player.
yeah, and
He's
that's what I mean, right?
he's like Jason Richardson level picking cleanliness.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Great.
It's like you can't really fake talent. It's it you just can't. There's no getting around that.
Yeah,
You
like
can fake being a rock star, but you can't fake being talented.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, it's cool seeing people who are like really talented and are into the same stuff as you, and you know, you jam with them, whatever, and and it's humbling, and it's really inspiring because I didn't bring a guitar to NAM because I couldn't.
mhm,
And as soon as I was hanging out with all these guys who were just so good, I was just like, I can't wait to get home and just put my head down and just like practice all this
yeah,
stuff that I've sort of been watching them do. And it's really neat.
right. You're
It's
like, I'm
humbling.
stealing that. That's coming home with me. That's
Yeah.
mine.
It was, yeah, it was like being in a store with no security, just like, I'll take that, I'll take
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool experience when you get to watch your inspirations at such a close level and just
Yeah,
pick apart what they do and then take it and use it for yourself.
yeah, yeah, and just people who relate to you on the exact same level with the same stuff because they're writing the same stuff as you, but from the other end of the world, people from Italy and Brazil and wherever,
Yeah.
different parts of North America. It's really cool. And then, you know, you make connections that way, which is great because I've met just from the one NAM trip, I met quite a lot of people who've now sort of grown a part of you know, my collaborative circle, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's been really great, and it's only going to keep growing and more inspiration, and it's pretty good.
That's awesome. Is there there's one thing in the world in the music industry that you could change? What do you think it would be?
um that's a hard one because understanding the music business is still something that I'm kind of trying to grasp. I tend to get too wrapped up in songwriting and stuff like that, but I think if there's anything I could change in the music industry, um, I guess it would be I'm kind of drawing a blank now, but I guess it'd be like, you know, trying to open up doors for musicians who want to try new things and not just kind of recycling the same idea, and you know, maybe bringing back the idea of having, you know, songs that aren't just 2 minutes and 40 seconds long. Maybe let's get some 5 or 6 minute songs in there, and
Mhm.
just, you know, I think the adventure of songwriting is kind of being pushed down by everything else that's more commercially viable. And I think, and don't get me wrong, I stuff that's commercially viable, I can find a lot of great things in there too.
Mhm.
Um, but but yeah, it's kind of like, you know, there, people want to try new things and have like, you know, and try and create a fresh sound, and I feel like that's kind of, you know, deprived of being anywhere near the forefront.
Yeah.
Where are the stoners and the acid trippers from the 70s who could just trip out to Rush 2112 and listen to an 18-minute song, right? Where did those people
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the sort of stoner music of today is like Tame Impala or something like that.
Mhm.
You know, something that's kind of where the trippy vibes, you know, kind of come about now.
Yeah, I
But
definitely think the metal now is like we went from people loving going to huge symphonies and orchestras because it was talented and intricate, but it's like the older our civilization gets, the less inclined we are to want good music.
yeah, well, the more inclined we are to accept music that's more thrown in our direction without even questioning it, because you know,
Yeah.
for a lot of people who aren't big music listeners, it's really just background noise. You know, it's just
Yeah.
something to create a vibe in their atmosphere.
I don't trust people who don't listen to music religiously and don't drink coffee.
Yeah, and don't drink coffee.
Yeah, if you don't like music, I don't know if you're human.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's something that it's never really been something that I've kind of felt about music, where it's just background noise. It's always been something where if I like something that I hear, I stop everything else and I sit down and I just I kind of try and go, why do I like this so much, and what sounds am I hearing that are
Mhm.
triggering something in my head that's making me go, yeah, I want more of that.
Yeah, I can't listen to music without breaking down each individual instrument and understanding what they're doing.
Yeah,
If like a producer aspect, I'm like, how much gain is on there? How well that could be turned up a little more, and I'm like,
yeah.
it
Too
kind
much
of ruins
pressure
it.
here. Too,
Yeah,
um, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's kind of like you know, it's something that I prefer to put all of my attention into when I hear it, because I don't really like missing out on something. I don't like hearing a song and then only really grasping one small part of it. I like to actually know the full story. You know, I see music as another cliche here, but like I see it as kind of a story, or the same as watching an episode of something,
yeah,
and then, like, you know, the season is the album. You know,
yeah, 100%.
kind
You
of.
can tell in your music that you have the climax and the fall, the rise and fall of a story
Well,
in
yeah,
the way you write.
there's a lot of that I sort of picked up on in in music school, where you know we'll have a class on arranging, and or even not even arranging, just like doing performance classes and talking about you know, playing a jazz standard, and then, like, you know, you've got the head and then you've got your solos section and all that, and you don't want it to just be a straight line in terms of your dynamic level. You want there to be, you know, rise and fall and all that, just like you see in a movie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And or a great example is in like a horror movie, where there's all this tension, and you know, the killer's sneaking up on the person and the person doesn't know where they are, and then the music's like coming up and coming up, and then all of a sudden it drops out, and it's just like, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
And then boom, the killer jumps out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, there's the chorus, you know,
yeah,
there's the last chorus of the song. You hear that kind of stuff in a lot of genres of music, where something will like kind of drop off, and then it'll come in really hard,
mm-hmm.
because you know that's what the song demands, and it makes it really impactful.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I kind of try and take a little bit of everything from all kinds of stuff to create the vibe that I want. And obviously, you know, you want to listen to stuff that inspires you and take songwriting things that they do. And songwriting is really the thing that I'm the most fascinated with. As much as I love doing all the shreddy stuff, I'm super into composition.
Yeah, you're definitely very humble about the way you put your shreddy stuff in.
Well, yeah,
you're like beautiful chord, weird chord. You know what I mean? And I'm like, whoa, bro, like well played. It's so well done.
Well, that's another thing too. I was actually thinking about this this morning, and I had a feeling that something like this was going to come up on this, and yeah, it's something that, like, you know, the music might demand for you to not showcase anything. Like one of my favorite songs that I wrote is a track called Redemption, and that song is it's just this riff that's not really shreddy. There's little shreddy pockets of stuff in there,
Hmm.
but it's more for like textural effect rather than like super,
Look what I can do.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just small little bits of stuff, and that's kind of what I prefer, because I don't know, you don't really remember a song very well if there isn't some kind of theme, you know. If
Yeah.
if there isn't a theme, then the song just kind of, it's just kind of this blur of stuff. So you can have all the shred you want, but like you got to come back to a theme, otherwise the person's not there. You can't go, oh, that song that goes like, it's
Yeah, exactly.
I
No.
couldn't tell you, I couldn't sing that to you.
Yeah. No, and it's so true. Is
Yeah.
there anything you'd like to tell the viewers or the world?
Um, I guess if you're a musician, try and write lots of music, because music doesn't just help your own playing, but it helps you understand music in general and how you listen to it. And yeah, I guess it's good to have a lot of people who write, because the more writing we have, the more collaboration there is. And yeah, just do all the things, diversify your tastes, but obviously stick to your home base where you're comfortable and always come back to that.
When can we look forward to hearing your next single or the rest of your album?
It's somewhat up in the air, but I do have I am planning on releasing my debut album either March of this year or April of this year. One of those months, my debut album, Black Skies and Searchlights, will be released.
Sweet. Well, when you release that, we'll get you back on for another interview.
Absolutely, I'd love to do this again.
Awesome, bro. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me part of the show.
No worries. We'll have you on anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Zach.
All right, see you guys later.
See you later. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the episode. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the episodes, interviews, this lovely person.
That lovely guy.
We'll see you guys soon.